Now, as many of you know, Kanye West appeared on Saturday Night Live wearing a MAGA hat and talking about cultural issues, not necessarily even Trump. He was kind of talking about how people were bullying him, picking on him, telling him that he couldn't go out wearing the hat, and they laughed at him. He pointed to the crowd and said, "See, they're laughing at me, they're laughing at me." I made a video talking about how I felt like Kanye West was spot on. Not in support of Trump, in the fact that he's trying to talk about unity and love, okay? There are a lot of people that are just blindly supporting whatever the television tells them. And it's been this way for a long time. But I feel like Hollywood has a problem. Hollywood has a weird cult problem. They do. Without naming specific organizations or specific beliefs, I think you can recognize what I'm talking about when I say this for a variety of reasons. Not just one weird culty ideology, but people in Hollywood love to follow dogma, and they're very, very tribalistic. And Kanye West called that out, and they insult him for it. Now we got a couple statements, a couple stories. Rolling Stone, Lana Del Rey, Kanye West's Trump support is loss for the culture. I can only assume you relate to Trump's personality on some level. Delusions of grandeur, extreme issues with narcissism, singer tells rapper. Okay. My point about what Kanye was talking about with Trump is that you're never going to convince a Trump supporter not to be a Trump supporter by calling them a narcissist and insulting them. It's ridiculous. And if there are people out there, and there are a lot of them on the illiberal reactionary left, who seem to think that violence and incivility are the answers, I would say to that's reactionary, right? Society used to be, violent. It used to be without free expression. There used to not be civility. We've achieved those things through progress. And if someone says that they want progress without those people, what they're basically saying is that their beliefs, their rights are above theirs. That makes them authoritarian, meaning they want to subject other people to rules that without getting permission from those people. So for me, I'm kind of like, so long as you are not violating the civil liberties of others and you are adhering to the social progress that we have achieved, we should solve our differences in a way that is socially progressive, meaning we talk about them, we debate them, and then we vote on them. Plain and simple. Sometimes you lose, but it means you got to try hard and you got to advocate for your position. But there are a lot of people who are just like, you're a racist, you're a Nazi, and then they say get violent, and then we see Bernie Sanders supporters getting hit in the head. So let's see what happened with Lana Del Rey. She condemned Kanye West's support for President Donald Trump as a loss for the culture. Sure, yours, and it is. Kanye West is famous, and he's deviating from your culture in response to the rapper's latest MAGA touting missive on social media. Following his unaired pro-Trump rant on Saturday Night Live, West turned to social media to post a photo of himself wearing a MAGA hat while aboard a private jet. He said, "This represents good and America becoming whole again." West said of the MAGA hat in the caption, "We will no longer outsource to other countries. We build factories here in America and create jobs. We will provide jobs for all who are free from prisons as we abolish the 13th Amendment." The 13th Amendment banned slavery and involuntary servitude. I don't know what Kanye West meant by that, but that's... what? Gotta give Kanye some criticism for that one. Severe criticism. Extreme. Well, let's see what he had to say. What? Why would he want to... That's crazy. In the comments of West's Instagram post, Del Rey, who performed at West and Kim Kardashian's wedding in 2014, criticized the rapper. "Trump becoming our president was a loss for the country, but your support of him is a loss for the culture. I can only assume you relate to his personality on some level, delusions of grandeur, extreme issues with narcissism," Del Rey wrote. Yeah, keep in mind that I think Hillary got like 66 million and Trump got like 63 million, meaning that's pretty even. Hillary got the popular vote, but come on, 63 million people? You can't ignore that. You can't. This is what's crazy. You've got a very small percentage of people, most people who voted for Hillary probably don't pay attention to the news that much. They just vote because it's a Democrat. Some of them probably pay attention a little, and a small minority are extremely active. Then you have the Trump supporters. Same thing. Small percentage, extremely active. Most people probably only watch news a little bit. Most people probably don't care. But the small faction on the left wants to say that literally everyone on the other side is like an extremist, is a racist. And yes, I'm not exaggerating. They have on TV, you've had people say that all Trump supporters, all of his, everyone who voted for Trump is racist. That's not true. Not at all. So She says, if you think it's all right to support someone who believes it's okay to grab a woman by the pussy just because he's famous, then you need an intervention as much as he does. Now, here's the thing. Kanye West says he doesn't support everything Trump does. And just because Trump does something doesn't mean he supports it. He said if someone inspires him, and that's fair. I talk about this often enough to where I kind of don't like talking about it because it kind of just becomes like a talking point, my criticisms for Trump. But during the election, not everybody, but a lot of people were saying, Hillary is everything wrong with government, Trump is everything wrong with culture. I do not like Trump for reasons like this. When he brags on the bus about, I can do whatever I want. And well, he didn't say I can do whatever I want, but when he says grab him by the pussy, right? Personally, I don't like that. I actually find it repulsive. Right? I like when I hear that, I cringe and I recoil. But I also know that, as I mentioned earlier, first of all, a lot of people don't care. There were women actually wearing shirts that say, grab me by the pussy, which I personally extremely disagree with. Right? I'm a liberal, but I know that this woman has a view of the world, and I'm not going to change it by wagging my finger at her. I'm going to ask her and try and understand her, and that's the best you can do. We'll have a conversation about it, right? But anyway, let's get back. So Chris Evans also jumped in, and he's the next part of this story. It says, actor Chris Evans was similarly critical of West's post about abolishing the 13th Amendment. I'm just going to stop here. I think Kanye is an eccentric, strange human being, and I do not believe he is I don't want to insult him, but when he tweeted he wanted to abolish the 13th Amendment, that had to be a mistake. Seriously. Unless he's... No, Kanye. We do not want to abolish the 13th Amendment. Seriously. So Chris Evans was critical of his post. He said, West later tweeted that he wanted to amend the amendment. There's nothing more maddening than debating someone... then they just jump straight into Chris Evans. So Chris Evans tweeted, there's nothing more maddening than debating someone who doesn't know history, doesn't read books, and frames their myopia as virtue. The level of unapologetic conjecture I've encountered lately isn't just frustrating, it's retrogressive, unprecedented, and absolutely terrifying. Yeah, that was a word salad that meant nothing. Thank you, Chris Evans. You know what? Chris Evans, it's a damn shame. You are a fantastic Captain America. Absolutely. He does a badass job. I just watched Winter Soldier again last night, and I'm like, damn. He's a good job. Seriously. And Scarlett Johansson, yeah. Really good job. Excellent acting. I love those movies. But Chris, you could have shortened this a whole lot. You could have just said, Kanye West doesn't know what he's talking about and is myopic, and it frustrates me, or something. You don't need to put it's retrogressive, it's unprecedented. It's not unprecedented. People do this all the time. It's literally what people do. Adding big words for no reason. There's something for this. What's it called when people use big words to sound smart because they're not actually smart? I can't. It's on top. I can't think of it. Maybe you guys can comment below and let me know what it is. The point is, I kind of agree with Chris Evans, okay? Kanye West tweeted about abolishing the 13th Amendment. And when you look at this, you're like, Kanye, listen, okay? I personally agree that we need to bring people together. And the more they bash Kanye, the more they push him away, right? Chris Evans' statement is going to push Kanye away, and Kanye is influential. Don't do that. Say, Kanye, I hear you, man. Let's have a conversation about it. Hey, I disagree. That's cool. Even Kanye recognized people disagree, and he said on the stage, he was like, "I know some of you disagree, but thank you for letting me do this." That's really cool. That's actually really cool of Kanye. Chris Evans approaching this like, okay, you know what? Let me say this. This tweet right here is the perfect example of what's wrong with the left. Look, there's a lot wrong with the left. There's a lot wrong with the right. I could get into all the issues that I have with the right for sure. I think supporting Kavanaugh, I don't like Kavanaugh. I don't like his history as a federal judge and the things he's ruled on because I don't like authoritarian policy. And I think, I mentioned this in the last video, a lot of I think Kavanaugh's got an archaic view of technology, but I digress. When I see the left, right, we'll criticize them. This right here is pseudo-intelligent, narcissistic nonsense, okay? And you get Lana Del Rey trying to call Kanye narcissistic. Yeah, you're all Hollywood actors. You've all got similar problems. Famous, super wealthy elites. And this is what Chris Evans did here. He made this overly verbose statement for no reason, okay? You can just, I could quote Kanye West and be like, I don't think Kanye knows what he's talking about. Was that so hard? You're calling it unprecedented and terrifying. This is what I see a lot of on the left, this elitist behavior where they think they're smarter than everybody and that everyone should do what they want. And look, anybody who ends up getting in, to an extent even what I do, like public figure type work, they've got some kind of narcissistic personality issue. Fully admit it. I'm right here. I recognize that I literally want to make sure everyone hears what I have to say. Right? I make videos about what I think, and I recognize that to an extent there's some kind of personality trait where you think people should hear you, right? And this is what we have. And Twitter breeds this and makes it worse, in my opinion. So I look at Kanye West, and look, I can criticize Kanye too because he's a celebrity getting political, for sure. But what he was talking about was, try love. Stop making fun of people, bring people together. And I'm like, all right. I'm not a big fan of celebrities using their weight to like push political ideas, but that's more like a philosophical thing. I kind of agree with. Chris Evans, Lana Del Rey coming after him, to me just shows that, Hollywood is easily susceptible to cultish-like ideology. And what's funny is when Chris Evans calls it myopia. It's like, yeah, I could say the same thing about you, Chris Evans. Everybody's in their bubble, and they think they're not in a bubble, and they think they're the reasonable ones, and they look at other people as extreme. And I'm literally, like, my Twitter is fairly balanced. I try to do, a decent job of balancing my Twitter account. And the news sources I read, I'll do mainstream, I'll do alternative, I'll do conservative, I'll do liberal. And I'm probably still in a bubble, right? I don't believe I'm invincible. They're not invincible. But this is what's absolutely insane, is that you get Kanye coming out and saying, I'm free, and we should bring people together, and then the response from other Hollywood celebrities is exactly what you'd expect. They come out and they say that, I'm smarter than you, you're terrifying me, this is retrogressive. Chris Evans is kind of he comes off like an asshole. He does. I try not, I don't like being mean, but when someone is mean, like actually there's never a reason to be mean, and I shouldn't. I try my best. But I want to say this. Chris Evans has tweets, and he is a snarky, elitist, mean person. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. This tweet from Kanye is just it's a little ignorant. Abolish the 13th Amendment. I don't think you know what he's talking about. Okay? And that's fine, right? And that's fine. You don't have to be smart. You should try. You should read. You should. But Chris Evans comes at this, and so does Lana Del Rey, from a snarky, elitist point of view about how they're morally superior. And that's my problem with a lot of the higher profile left. Aside from a bunch of other things. Can I just end by saying I think everybody's nuts? Everybody's nuts, and Hollywood should get off their high horse. Yeah. Anyway, stick around. I've got some more videos coming up in a few minutes.